Shepherd here with you on the Tuesday after Memorial Day weekend, 4-day work week. It's what we call a Monday feeling Tuesday today. But we'll get through it and have a great day today. We got the world famous Butch and Bob show coming up right now, and it's brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear, by Jessup Premium Storage out here on the Waycross Highway. Also brought to you by Republic Services and Murphy Builder Supply on Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jessup. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Have a nice, relaxing Memorial Day weekend?
It was relaxing.
It was relaxing, huh? All right, we got a very special guest in here this morning. You made a news release announcement on Friday about an important decision that Rayonier made to expand their company, and we've got the man who knows all about it in here. Tell us about it.
I appreciate Clay, the general manager. He called with the information, said it was on their website, and so we had the announcement on Friday, but he's got all the information. Again, Rayonier announced last week that they're purchasing a Canadian company called Tempec. So, Clay, appreciate you coming in. Again, see you around town at all the events. You're very active in the community, so it's been nice to get to know you the last couple of months, but I appreciate you calling me, and I appreciate you being here on the show to fill everybody in on this announcement and major purchase for Rayonier.
Yeah, it's good to be here, Bob. It's a year ago I came on the show and was moving into the general manager position. It's been a good year. The team at Jessup has done excellent work, and it's nice to be in Jessup. But this is a very exciting news where the company is moving forward, and we announced last week that we are in the process of purchasing a company called Tempec, and they're a legacy company that's been around for many years. And this is a strategic buy for the company, where Rayonier is number one in acetate, and we've led that market for many years. And as we see headwinds in that market, and we see a less growth, this company is number one in ethers, and that's an area that we're expanding into, is the ethers market. And basically, as we make closure on this purchase, then we'll be number one in ethers. It brings technology and things that we could use and help facilitate improving our business, but also diversifies our business. They have a number of different facilities and different markets that they work in. So this is about growing the company and diversifying the company.
What's ethers?
Ethers is a product that is used in foods and other areas, but it's a thickener. And
is it made from trees like y'all's products are there right here?
Everything's made from trees. So
okay.
We're in our core business, and this is an area that we do make some products in, but ethers is like for shampoo.
Okay.
Shampoo is just soap, and it'd feel like water. Well, you use thickeners to thicken that,
right?
And that can come from a sale.
It's amazing how many products are made from trees.
Yeah, it's amazing how much we use a tree every day and we don't see it.
Yeah,
Was
the company up for sale, or did y'all just go make them an offer, or do you know all the details on that?
The few details that I know we've been, obviously it's been no secret that Rayonier has been looking to expand and to grow our business, right. And I believe this has been a discussion point for well over a year. But as you know, discussions start and end, mm-hmm. And there's a lot of legal issues as all that occurs, because obviously in the marketplace you can't discuss certain things. So I think this is we announced probably 6 or 8 months ago, that we were very serious about going out and purchasing someone, and so more deals fall through whenever you're trying to buy somebody than goes through.
Oh yeah, so, definitely.
So this is one of those things that it finally worked out, and both boards saw it advantageous for the shareholders.
Okay.
As each company's board of directors has approved the transaction, expected to be finalized second half of the year, so nothing will hold it up at this point, right? I mean, the sale's pretty much going to go through. What does it mean for shareholders? That's what a lot of people in Wayne County have stock in Rayonier shareholders. They want to know how that's going to affect them.
Yeah, it's nothing's a given. In the litigious world that we live in, there's also, there's antitrust. There's like 5 different countries, I think, across the globe that could that could possibly hold up the transaction. The two main countries is obviously the United States and the antitrust laws there, as well as Canada. There's approvals that are given by some European companies because both companies, especially Tembec, sells a lot of product in the European theater. So, but before you go into these, you get attorneys to look, and you see where the markets are, and so
with all the competition in the world, how could that be anywhere near a trust? I mean, geez.
Yeah, but everybody has to have their input, and so obviously the company's done a good job of vetting this, and we would not go forward if we didn't feel like it'd be successful. Okay. So, but it's going to be a 4 to 6 month, to get all the approvals and best everything that all we got to do is dot the I's and cross the T's. But obviously, there's always risk until the deal is completely through.
Right, they're going to keep their headquarters in Montreal, Quebec, so it's not like the company's moving, right? It'll just stay there. How's it going to work?
Well, they're in Canada, most of the land is owned by the government, and so obviously they have sawmills, and they're a vertically integrated company in Canada, and so the Canadian government they lease land, and so a lot of that part of the headquarters will stay there. Obviously, the parts that are running mills and everything, the headquarters, the overall company headquarters will be here in Jacksonville, and that will stay the same. So Paul Boynton will be the CEO of the new company, and I don't think we want to move our headquarters to Canada.
We don't just stay in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville, sunshine.
Nice and sunny, warm.
Yeah. So,
got your roots there.
Well, the good news, as you mentioned, it shows the Rainier is expanding. They're just expanding. Several years ago with the big expansion project, the governor came down. This is another expansion project, so it's good news for Rainier. As you know, in small towns, you always hear the rumors Rainier is going to be sold. So it's good to know that Rainier is expanding their company.
Oh yeah, this is a very positive thing for the people here in Jessup. It's if you as you go to the market and you buy and sell companies, it's good to be on the buying side, and obviously this is going to be good because we get to put our culture into theirs. We're not looking to change everything, but obviously there's a lot of good foundations that Rainier has built over the life of the company, and we'll expand those into the Tembec culture, and as we integrate. And obviously they've got some things that they probably do better than us, and that's the Ethers product line, and so we'll learn from them, and we'll be stronger. And this is about diversity. It's not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Clay Bethay, the mill manager here at Rainier, this morning talking about the expansion of buying another company up in Canada. We do have somebody who texted a message here. Will the company fall under Rainier stock, or will it be its own, the one you just purchased?
It will fall under Rainier stock.
Purchase. Okay, it's in the process. Yes.
Yeah, it will fall under Rainier stock.
Rainier stock. Okay.
And hence why obviously the stock has moved upward. The market saw this, as a positive thing, last week, and so it should still be, so everything's coming under Rainier stock.
Okay, all right.
How many employees currently at the mill here, Justin? People ask that question all the time. How many people are employed there?
Direct Rainier employees, 750. 750. Plus or minus a few.
And how many contract people do y'all use?
Whenever, obviously, during shutdown, you get up to 1,000, but
regular day
in and out, it's you're probably looking at 100, 150, 200.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't include all the truck drivers that bringing in, all the chips. And, if you start including all the wood procurement type, then it's a significant.
It's over 1,000 then.
Oh, yeah.
Directly affected by Rainier on a day in, day out basis with a paycheck.
That's right. Yeah, it's well within, that. I have not seen those numbers, but if you start looking at the primary folks that are touching a chip, and then the secondary vendors, you're getting way on up in the 1,500s probably, but obviously you get down to the secondary, tertiary type people supporting the facility.
Well, the press release says Tempec has 3,000 employees and annual sales $1.5 billion. Is that all in Canada? They have that many employees? Is that big of a operation in Canada?
Yeah, most of their operations is in Canada, and there is actually one sulfite mill that's over in France, and so the sulfite mills is the Fernandina type process. So they have two facilities that match that, and that's where the ethers products are, kind of the mainstay of the ethers products.
But do they harvest most of their trees up there in Canada?
Absolutely.
So the land's owned by the government up there, you said, right? So they actually buy the product, in a sense, from the government up there.
Yeah, there's a long-term lease, and obviously in Canada it's very different, where we have private landowners that manage their land, and they do as they choose. Most of Canada is trees, and most of these, all of this company is in Quebec, the province there, and so they have long-term leases, and that's, they just have a little bit different system than what we do, and so they lease and pay the government for that property, but they have to manage it.
Somebody just texted in, will the expansion create more jobs in any kind of way?
Create more jobs here?
They didn't say here. They just said, will it create more jobs?
I would say the expansion will, on a whole, as you combine two companies, obviously in the accounting functions and the corporate functions, you combine jobs. Those reduce. And obviously there's $50 million that of synergies between the two companies. So you have to take cost out. Will there be more jobs at the corporate headquarters? I would say yes. Will there be more jobs at the research center here long term? Those are all questions that in the next 6 months, as we put together the transition team, those are the type of questions that will be asked.
Somebody texted in, I don't know what this means, you may do it. I just read the questions, I don't make them up. Does anybody see the irony with the 10B purchase? RAM used to have sawmills in timberland. Do you have any idea what they're saying?
When we see us go back to sawmills down in the southeast, that's a corporate direction, and I haven't seen that, but so I can't answer that.
Right.
And right now, what's been said is we plan to run all the assets that we're buying from Tembec.
Okay.
And obviously they have a number of sawmills, and so it's not foreign for RAM, Rainier Advanced Materials.
Okay, I didn't do all of it. Tembec, I thought it was too easy to see there. With the Tembec purchase, RAM used to have sawmills and timberland.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think the Rainier was one of the last companies to separate the land management from the manufacturing, and so you see this as obviously Tembec doesn't own the property. It's owned by the Crown. And so that will be a decision long term how we move. But I think you see Rainier Advanced Materials being a manufacturing company.
Okay.
That seems to be the direction we're going.
More manufacturing than the other. Yeah.
Yeah, there's different tax laws, and that's above my pay grade. I'm an engineer.
You're an engineer. You don't have tax.
There's a lot of tax laws that makes this advantage to
it's amazing the tax laws have to be so complicated. You have to get tax attorneys and accountants to figure it all out.
You gotta have them.
One advantage says expects to benefit from enhanced scale of the combined companies, projecting savings of $50 billion in combined operating costs to be achieved over a 3-year period. So that's why they're doing it, to save money.
Oh yeah, obviously, whenever you look at these, both companies look at different attributes and how do you combine two companies? Obviously, you have attorneys on both sides. Well, you don't need all those attorneys on both sides, but there's a mix there. The accounting functions, those are the type of things that you'll take down. You don't need two CEOs, so one. There's a whole executive team that will. Obviously, you might keep one or two executives from the other team because there's more to manage,
and their experience with that company.
Yeah, and so it's there's a transition, and basically as we go through the antitrust and we work through all of the different items that has to go in, there's going to be a team that's set up inside our company that's going to be a transition team. How do we transition this, and how do we start looking at the assets, and how do we start, learning from them and them learning from us, so that we can improve and get that $50 million worth of synergies.
Okay.
If you just joined us, Clay Bethay, General Manager Rainier, to talk about the purchase of Tempec. Again, I guess the bottom line, people keep asking, what does it mean for Rainier here locally? The purchase, what does that do? I mean, why is it so important?
So I think it's means a lot to the local economy. Number one, it diversifies the company. So last year, whenever we had hurricanes come through, with Fernandina and Jessup being the only two manufacturing facilities, could be impacted by the same hurricane. Now, this diversifies the company not only regionally, but more importantly, it diversifies the company with products. And so that will allow, as we see, acetate being the mainstay of the Jessup facility for many years, we see that market, maturing. And as that market matures, what are the markets that are growing? And the ethers market is growing. And so ethers can be produced here. We've actually, run a number of trials here at the facility working on ethers. And as we were developing those products in the research center here, now we get to, whenever we finally put the two companies together, guess what? We now have access to the number one ethers producers, all of their technology. And so those are type things that really will help the Rainier company.
Now, what does the research department, the sections, a separate building out front? I remember when it was first built here, they had a little bit different function than they do now, because Bob and I were on the community advisory boards at that time, which I don't think we've had one in a while. But what does the research department now do for Rainier? What's the purpose of having that research department there at Rainier?
Well, the building actually houses our sales organization, our procurement organization, and some of our business organizations that support both facilities. But there is also research in that building, and that's key to our business. And so not only do we develop new products there, but as we service our customers throughout the world, as there are issues, there's always issues in business and products.
No.
And so, yeah. That's what we're hired for, right?
That's right. We got to solve them problems. Your pay grade is based on the amount of problems you solve and the importance of the problems you solve.
That's right. And so we have a team of scientists at the research center, and we have a lot of fancy equipment that is definitely above my pay grade to run. And, we can really look at the structure and the molecules and solve problems for our customers.
That's
and
right.
Also develop.
The customers have certain needs and problems and situations, and the research department tries to solve those.
That's right. And so we're not only there are we working for customer issues, we're also working to create new products. And that's we've really here lately we've moved the organization to working on creating new products. Mm-hmm. And we are continually looking at that, and obviously that type, whenever those solutions are found, those are announced by the CEO and the corporate group. And so as they mature out of the research area and we finally get them in production, those are the things that the community will hear about. But
do you ever foresee using chips or pine trees from Canada, or is the transportation cost too much for that?
Yeah, the transportation cost would limit that. And obviously pulp mills are building small communities for a reason, because usually trees are around small communities.
Yeah.
You wouldn't build a pulp mill in the middle of New York City.
No, you wouldn't. Another question text into us at 912-427-3711. What is the Canadian Invest Act, and how might it affect the purchase? Do you have any idea?
I don't. I would have to go back.
You'd have to go do some research.
Yeah, I'd have to do a little bit of research.
I have no idea what that is. What is the Canada Invest Act, and how might that affect the purchase?
That might be, and I'm not sure about this, but in Canada, in Quebec, actually, as companies spend money there, the government will match capital expenditures up to like 40%.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm not sure if that's the act that's being referred to, but that's one of the things that the Canadian government is about creating jobs, and so as companies invest, and I'm assuming that's what's being asked here. I didn't know this.
We have attorneys who listen to the Butch and Bob show, so you might get some questions sometimes. They're like, whoa.
Yeah, but if that's the Invest Act, there is actually a nuance there. So if we go to decide to expand some capabilities there, there's actually a lot of matching grants from the government in Canada.
Okay, Bob?
As you mentioned, almost here a year, how you like in Wayne County fitting in. Like I said, I see you at all the community events. You seem like you're out and about and being very active in the community, so that's good.
Well, the community is excellent, and I enjoy going to community events. My wife and my daughter, we've all felt very welcomed. And this is, we came, and actually, our joke is to most people, we're not sure about Jessup because
it's too big.
It's too big. It's too big. But
I remember when you said that last year,
Yeah.
Honey, there's just too much traffic here in this town.
That's right. And so we love it. We enjoy it. But I tell you, this spring is what really got me. So I had the opportunity to go into the river swamp and go turkey hunting and listen to turkeys all during the spring gobbler season. And
so you're hooked now, right?
Oh, I mean, it's I grew up in I'm from the coastlands of Florida, and there's swamp area along the Gulf Coast, and the river swamp here looks just like that. And as a little boy, I carried a single shot shotgun and walked behind my dad with a pack of dogs and drive and so walking through and this gobbler season, my daughter and I, we were out and being able to walk along some creeks going towards the river and it was just beautiful.
That's what people say about Bob and I. Well, they get to listen to a couple of turkeys every morning.
At least nobody's coming to shoot you, though.
Yeah, well, not yet. We have had the locked doors a few times.
Yeah.
It was so good. You've been here for 1 year, and basically the first thing that you said to me this morning, other than good morning, that kind of stuff, boy, the ball team did really good this year. So you're ingrained in the Jessup community. I mean, the first thing, comment was how the baseball team.
Yeah. One thing you notice, you look at communities, you see but this is a winning community. This is a community that wants to win. And, congratulations to the baseball team and the boys there and the effort that they put forward. And, it really builds the community spirit. And, but they gave it their all. They did a good job,
a great job,
and I really appreciate that. And it's a great development opportunity for our young people, and so that's one of the things that my job is to make sure we create jobs and keep the facility stable, so some of those folks can come back and work locally and help build their community.
All right, Clay Bethea, General Manager Rainier, this morning. Bob.
The other story, Rainier, you've been through the court case. Judge Kelly ruled in your favor. I saw where the Ultimate Revocation appeal, but you just mentioned you're a hunter, you're a fisherman. A lot of people, Rainier, are hunter fishermen. Y'all are environmentally, y'all done, as you said, you go to those court cases, see how much money's been spent to, get the color as less as they possibly can. Talk a little bit about that, the efforts that Rainier goes through to make sure that they're environmentally conscious to the community.
Yeah, it's, going changing subjects, obviously, we have to earn the right to run our manufacturing facilities, and society's changed. I think we've moved to a better place, and Rainier has met those challenges. If you go look at the color that Rainier, that is discharged, I think you'll see that it's significant reductions and, several 100% of reductions over the years. We'll continually improve that, and society is much more conscious. Used to back in the 1920s and the 30s and 40s and 50s is when most pulp mills were built in the Southeast. Most people were owning jobs, and environmental was not a concern. And obviously, you folks grew up around a pulp mill, and there's been a lot of environmental, whether it's air or water. A lot of safeguards have been put on and changed, and I don't see that stopping. I see that continually improving. I think we're in a better place today. We are very conscious Rainier is very conscious, and we as a people, we're conscious. And, I live in this community. I've raised my kids here, and I want it to be a good place. And obviously, I'm not going to do anything to harm my family. And obviously, we'll be on the river, and we'll be doing some fishing. And actually, the other day, I ate some mullet. And now I've got to go figure out how to mullet fish. So, it was good.
Well, I know that you'll have environmental engineers out there, an entire department. When Bob and I went to these community advisory meetings, the engineers would come in and talk about that y'all meeting and exceeding the state and federal requirements for your discharges. And the amount of money that Rainier spends on a yearly basis to keep reducing the discharge in the water and in the air is just staggering. I mean, it's amazing how much money y'all spend to keep it met federal and state regulations and even exceeding those regulations.
Yes, definitely. It's a typical rule of thumb is in the last 20 years, mills have spent more money on environmental abatement than they've spent on the original mills. And so it's definitely that, and very conscious of it, and we'll continue to spend money. That'll be a continued focused area. And it's large facilities, and over time, we'll continually get better and provide good jobs for the people of Jessup.
Okay, Clay Bethea this morning, General Manager at Rainier. And so, we're talking about the possible purchase of Timpec by Rainier, the Canadian company there. But locally here, you said you're sitting at full-time employees out there, just about almost 800, is that right? And do you see that staying at that level, reducing down because of automation over a period of time? I know you got a lot of folks that have started there in the 50s, 60s, or now put in their 30, 35 years and are retiring. What's the job opportunity for folks in this area at Rainier?
Well, I think if you take a look at history of pulp mills, there's always been modernization, and we couldn't stay in business today if we hadn't modernized, and the number of people that it used to take to run a pulp mill has changed.
That's about half now.
Yeah,
it was when I moved here in '68.
Yeah, and that'll continually change. You would do that over through a systemic process over the years, and make sure everybody stays employed. But yes, this year we're probably hiring about 50 people to just for attrition, and so that will continue. And if you go look at numbers, it's somewhere between 30 and 50 people a year that we hire to just handle the attrition of the facility, and that's people retiring and people changing careers and et cetera, et cetera.
All right, we just got this texted and picture in here from my daughter-in-law. It says Bartram Power Sports here on 301. I guess it's here in Jessup, is engulfed in fire this morning. We're receiving reports that it is totally demolished. Traffic is being diverted away from the area. So I'm sure Bob will get right on the story when he get off. Bartram Power Sports on 301 South. That's the one that I'm looking at here. Yeah. But Bob will get right on this when we get out. I don't think it's the one in Brunswick. I think it's the one that's here. Well, it may be the one in Brunswick because it came from a news source over in Brunswick. It may be the one over in Brunswick, but Bob will find out in a moment. Okay? So it could be the one over there. I hope it's not the one here.
We hope it's
not the one over there either.
You wish it was neither, but
neither. But okay. Let's see here. A couple of texts in here. Is Rainier planning to move to 12-hour shifts instead of the normal 8 hours?
No comment on that.
No comment. Yeah.
Well, those are type things that are negotiated.
Okay, they're negotiated.
Those are negotiation type areas, and so no comment at this time.
Okay, so just one of those things you can't do because the bosses in Jacksonville say, I can't answer that. Okay, another question that came in says, great mullet fishermen are at Crossroads in Madry Springs. So go to Madry Springs, find those great mullet fishermen. They'll help you go out there and find the mullet.
Well, I think yes. It's so yeah. That might be somebody that offered me a trip, so I've got to take them up on that.
Okay, Clay, we really do appreciate you coming in this morning. I know that you got a busy schedule out there at Rainier, trying to run that big mill out there. But the good thing is, I know that you've got a lot of great managers out there, and managers, assistant managers, whatever y'all call them out there, supervisors, that keep each department running like it should.
we've got a great team all the way, operate, as far as it doesn't matter whether you're a manager, an operator, a mechanic, electrician, it takes a whole team. And my job is to build a team that can continue to keep the place running and motivate everybody, because nowadays in today's business economy, we gotta have 750 people helping to solve problems, and we hire people from the shoulders up, not from the shoulders down. That's a change of work that's really occurred over the last 60 years. It's a lot less manual labor, a lot more thinking, and everybody helps solve problems, and that's what we got to do.
Okay, a text just in is the Bartram Power Sports over in Brunswick. They've closed the ramp to I-95 South, so it is the Bartrams over in Brunswick that's on fire at this time. Clay,
good to see you. Appreciate you coming in. Like I said, always good to see you around the community as well. But again, you're always welcome on the show. We do appreciate you coming in, like I said, to explain this major announcement last week.
So once again, Bob, why don't you tell the reason why you brought Clay in this morning? It was the possible purchase of Rayonier by Intempec up in Canada, and how it will affect Rayonier, this area, the company's growth, and the future of Rayonier. And good luck with the expansion there. Hopefully everything will go through, and Rayonier will have the purchase of Intempec up in Canada.
We definitely think it will go through, and we look forward to it. And thank y'all for inviting, and always looking forward to working in the community.
Okay, all right. Clay Bethea, General Manager at Rayonier, our special guest this morning here on the world famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply on Northeast Broad Street, by Republic Services, by Jessup Premium Storage out here in the Waycross Highway, and by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear. 8:29 on this Tuesday morning, 105.5 FM in Jessup. We've got news from Fox News Radio coming your way in just 1 minute.
As a comfort advisor for 1 Hour Air Conditioning, what sets you apart from other companies?
Well, we offer for free services that most don't offer at all.
Really? Like what?
Well, every estimate, I perform a load calculation on the home, an energy audit, and an air quality assessment. I'm not there just to sell a unit. I take time to identify problems and educate clients on the best solution. By simply choosing the right equipment, I've actually had some of my customers save as much as $1,000 a year on their power bills, while also providing them with cleaner, healthier air. The savings in some cases was enough to pay for the unit. I also have financing options available, all with zero down payment and interest as low as 0%.
So the difference with 1 Hour Air Conditioning and Heating is our quality? Before you buy, let 1 Hour Comfort Advisor give you a no-obligation assessment of your system. Call 1 Hour at 912-427-7022.
It is 8:30. You're listening to the Big Dog, WIFO, 105.5 FM in Jessup. Let's check in the latest news from Fox News Radio.
Are the Russians laughing at us? I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News. President Trump thinks they are, tweeting they must be laughing at the U.S. and how a lame excuse for why Democrats lost the election has taken over the fake news. Of course, he's referring to the Russian investigation he has called a witch hunt. His son-in-law is now caught up in the controversy.
The president has expressed full confidence in Jared Kushner.
Counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, dismissive of media reports that Jared Kushner tried to set up a secret communications channel with the Russians after the election.
If you go back to a couple of weeks ago, you'll notice that one paper in particular